But as part of that, then part of his uh, probation or parole or whatever, that after he got out, he had to work and he got this job over at Red Lobster, as and part of he that, was part of his um, learned how to cook. He became a cook at Red Lobster,
Oh my
and
God. So you
once
have a
he,
good job. Yeah. Isn't that great?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
everything works, like, everything I'm listening to, everything works for our good. Everything, even the worst, because the body means nothing. What happens here in the body means absolutely nothing.
Exactly. And it's so cool because yeah, he learned how to, I mean, before if you went over and he says, I'm gonna cook you a steak, he would cook you, it would be charcoal, and since he worked at Red Lobster, he learned how to be a real cook and learned a lot of things about being in the kitchen. And I'm telling you, prison was the best thing for him, as crazy as that sounds. Anyway, I see Bob has his hand up. Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
No, cancel it.
Oh, okay. All righty. Okay, so I have this thing that you sent me from Carl, the Carl Jung thing. I am going to play it
Okay.
uh, because I think it's helpful, and then we'll go on to the. And hi, Marcy. Hi,
I
beautiful, sweet
told her, I
girl.
told you, Marcy, look on your phone, because Karen had sent me something to send to you that might help your brain. And I sent it to you last week, but I called you this morning.
Oh,
Oh, we're
yeah,
so helpful.
I did get it.
This
Thank you.
might help your brain. I
Yeah.
love it. Oh man, Marcy, your art is so stunning.
Oh,
I
thank
just
you.
love your artwork. It's so beautiful. I can't even believe I know someone like you who's an artist of that kind. Um,
Oh, that's
it's so
sweet.
free and beautiful.
That is
And
so sweet.
all right, so here we go. We're going to listen to a little bit of. Hey, good morning, everybody. You're here on ACIM Gather with Karen, Sharon, and Lynn, and we're going to be reading some Ken Wapnick. And right now, we're going to watch a video that Sharon found about um, our reality, and it's something that came from the teachings of Carl Jung. So here we go. All right, ready? There we go.
You is actually happening through you. Jung discovered the one truth that makes every other truth obvious. Your entire life is a projection of your psyche. Every person you meet, every situation you face, every problem you have, it's all you meeting yourself over and over again. Once you really understand this, not intellectually, but in your bones, every other psychological insight becomes unnecessary, because you'll have the master key that unlocks everything. Today I'm going to show you what Jung saw that changed psychology forever. And if you really get this, if it actually lands, you might never need another video about transformation, healing, or self-improvement again. Because you'll finally understand the game you've been playing without knowing you were playing it. Here's what Jung realized that shattered everything. You've never actually experienced objective reality. Not once, not ever. Every single moment of your life has been filtered through your psyche, through your complexes, your shadow, your projections, your unconscious patterns. You've been living in a psychological simulation of your own creation, thinking it was real. That person who betrayed you, that was your psyche showing you something about trust. That opportunity you missed, your psyche revealing something about readiness. That pattern that keeps repeating, your psyche trying to make something conscious. You haven't been living life. You've been living your psychology. And until you see this, really see it, you're trapped in an endless loop, fighting shadows on the wall, thinking they're real monsters. Jung called this the projection of the unconscious, but it's bigger than that term suggests. It's the fundamental structure of human experience, and once you understand it, everything changes. Not because your life changes, but because you finally see what your life actually is. Your life is a perfect mirror of your psyche, and you've been attacking the mirror thinking it was the problem. Jung discovered that everything, literally everything you experience, is a reflection of your internal state, but not in some mystical law of attraction way, in a precise psychological way that's actually mappable. Here's how it works. Your unconscious is constantly projecting itself onto the world. Every unintegrated part of your psyche gets projected outward and appears to come at you from outside. Your shadow shows up as the people who trigger you. Your anima or animus shows up as who you're attracted to. Your complexes show up as your recurring problems. You're not experiencing life. You're experiencing your own unconscious, externalized. Think about someone who really bothers you, not someone who's actually harmful, just someone whose personality makes you irrationally angry. That's not them you're seeing. That's your own rejected aspect. You hate in them what you've disowned in yourself. Now think about someone you're obsessed with, can't stop thinking about. That's not them either. That's your own unlived potential, your inner feminine or masculine, projected onto them like they're a movie screen. Every single experience is this. Jung proved this with thousands of patients. The woman who kept attracting narcissists, she was projecting her own disowned self-importance. The man who kept getting betrayed, he was projecting his own capacity for betrayal that he couldn't face. The person surrounded by chaos, they were projecting their own inner disorder. But here's where it gets profound. Once you see that it's all projection, you stop fighting the mirror. Think about how insane it would be to punch a mirror because you don't like your reflection. That's exactly what you've been doing your entire life. Fighting with people who are just showing you yourself. Resisting situations that are just revealing your psyche. Running from experiences that are just your unconscious becoming conscious. Jung had a patient who complained that everyone in her life was controlling. Every relationship, every job, every situation. Someone was always trying to control her. She spent years fighting these controlling people, leaving relationships, quitting jobs, moving cities. Then Jung helped her see the control wasn't out there. She was projecting her own disowned need for control. She was so terrified of her own controlling nature that she projected it onto everyone else and then fought it externally. The moment she saw this, everything shifted. Not because the world changed, but because she stopped fighting her own projection. She took back the projection, owned her own controlling nature, and suddenly, the controlling people either disappeared from her life or stopped seeming controlling. This is the first key insight. Your life problems are projection problems. You're not struggling with reality. You're struggling with your own unconscious material that appears as reality. Every difficult person is a difficult part of you. Every recurring situation is an unintegrated aspect of your psyche. Every pattern is a projection asking to be reclaimed. But here's what makes this the last video you need. Once you see everything as projection, you stop trying to fix life and start integrating your psyche. You stop fighting out there and start working in here. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start being a student of your own unconscious. The mirror principle changes everything because it reveals that you've been playing both sides of every conflict. You're the projector and the screen, the dreamer and the dream, the one who sees and what's being seen. You're not living a life. You're creating a life unconsciously, moment by moment, and then forgetting you created it. Jung discovered something that sounds like science fiction, but is psychological fact. Your unconscious is constantly creating your reality through projection. and then your ego experiences that reality as if it's happening to you. It's like being a filmmaker who makes a movie, develops amnesia, watches their own movie, and thinks it's real life. Here's the mechanism. Your psyche has certain patterns, complexes, unfinished business. These create what Jung called archetypal situations, basic templates of human experience, and your unconscious keeps creating these situations in your life until you recognize them as your own creation. The abandonment complex creates abandonment situations. The authority complex creates authority conflicts. The unworthiness complex creates experiences of rejection, not once, but repeatedly, like a broken record, until you finally hear the pattern. You're not unlucky, you're not cursed, you're unconsciously creative. Jung saw this with every patient. A man who complained about being unseen by others couldn't see that he was invisible to himself. A woman who felt constantly judged was running a 24/7 internal court where she was judge, jury, and defendant. A person who felt life was meaningless had never asked what meaning meant to them. They were creating their reality from their unconscious assumptions, then experiencing that reality as objective fact. But here's the mind-blowing part. You're doing this right now, this moment. The way you're receiving these words, the resistance or recognition you're feeling, the thoughts arising in response, it's all your psyche creating your experience of this video. Two people can watch the same video and have completely different experiences. One sees liberation, another sees nonsense. Same video, different psyches, different realities. Jung called this psychic reality. The fact that psychological reality is more real to us than physical reality. You don't live in the world, you live in your perception of the world. And that perception is created by your unconscious projections. This is why positive thinking doesn't work. You can't consciously think your way out of unconscious patterns. It's like trying to change a movie by yelling at the screen. The projection is coming from deeper than thought. But when you realize you're the projectionist, when you see that you're creating what you're experiencing, everything changes. Not because you can suddenly control everything, but because you finally understand what's actually happening. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what part of my psyche is creating this? You stop being the victim of your movie and start being curious about why you're playing this particular film. Jung lived this way. When something difficult happened, he wouldn't just react. He'd ask, what is my unconscious showing me through this situation? When someone triggered him, he'd wonder, what part of me is this person representing? He treated his entire life as a communication from his unconscious to his conscious mind. And that's exactly what it was. Every problem you've ever had is the same problem, unconsciousness. Jung's most radical insight was that there's really only one problem in human life: unconscious material running your life from the shadows. Every other problem is just a symptom of this one problem. Depression, that's unconscious grief or anger turned inward. Anxiety, unconscious material trying to become conscious. Addiction, unconscious needs seeking fulfillment through unconscious means. Relationship problems, unconscious projections dancing with other unconscious projections. It's all the same problem wearing different masks. Think about your biggest current problem. Now realize that problem is not the problem. The problem is the unconscious pattern creating that problem. And that pattern will keep creating variations of that problem until you make it conscious. Jung had a patient who went through 5 marriages, all ending the same way. She thought she had bad luck with men. Jung showed her she had one unconscious pattern playing out 5 times. She wasn't meeting 5 different men. She was meeting her own unconscious pattern 5 times, dressed as different people. Once she saw the pattern, once she made it conscious, she didn't need a 6th marriage to learn the lesson. The pattern was complete. The unconscious material had become conscious. This is why Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Every fate is just unconscious pattern. Every bad luck is unconscious repetition. Every 'that's just how life is unconscious acceptance of an unconscious pattern." But here's the liberating truth. Since all problems are really one problem, there's really only one solution: consciousness. Not positive consciousness, not enlightened consciousness. Just plain consciousness, seeing what is actually happening versus what appears to be happening. When you see that you're creating your abandonment experiences, the pattern loses power. When you recognize you're projecting your shadow onto others, the projection returns. When you realize you're living out an unconscious complex, the complex dissolves. Consciousness is the universal solvent. It dissolves every problem by revealing that the problem was never what you thought it was. Jung discovered this personally during his confrontation with the unconscious. He was flooded with disturbing visions, overwhelming emotions, psychological chaos. His ego wanted to fight it, fix it, make it stop. But then he realized the chaos wasn't the problem. His unconsciousness about the chaos was the problem. When he stopped fighting and started observing, when he brought consciousness to the unconscious material, the chaos transformed into insight. The visions that seemed like madness became the seeds of his psychology. The emotions that felt destructive became creative energy. The chaos that appeared meaningless revealed profound meaning. Nothing changed except his consciousness about what was happening, and that changed everything. This is the master key. Every problem is solved the same way, by seeing what you couldn't see before, by making conscious what was unconscious, by recognizing your projection as projection. You don't need different solutions for different problems. You need consciousness applied to unconsciousness. That's it. That's the entire game. Here's why this might be the last video you need. Once you understand projection, you stop seeking answers outside and start finding them inside. Every book you read, every video you watch, every teacher you follow, you're not actually learning from them. You're learning from your own projections onto them. You're finding in them what already exists in you, but needs external permission to emerge. Jung discovered this with transference. Patients would project their unconscious material onto him and then learn from him what was actually their own wisdom. He wasn't teaching them. He was serving as a screen for their projections until they could reclaim them. This video isn't teaching you anything. It's reflecting something you already know but haven't made conscious. These aren't my words or Jung's words. They're your words, projected onto us, waiting for you to recognize them as yours. Think about every breakthrough you've ever had. It didn't come from new information. It came from suddenly seeing what was always there. The answer didn't arrive. It was revealed. You didn't learn something new. You remembered something forgotten. This is because everything you need to know is already in your unconscious. Every answer, every insight, every solution, it's all there, waiting to become conscious. Jung proved this with his technique of active imagination. He would have patients dialogue with their unconscious, and profound wisdom would emerge. Wisdom the patients didn't know they had, not channeled from outside, but arising from inside. The wise old man who gave guidance, That was their own inner wisdom projected as a figure, the divine child who brought renewal, their own creative potential personified, the shadow who revealed truth, their own rejected knowing. It was all them talking to themselves through the medium of projection. This is why you don't need more information. You need more consciousness about the information you already have. You don't need more answers. You need to see the answers hiding in your questions. Every seeking is actually avoiding. Every search outside is fleeing from inside. Every next video, book, or teaching is postponing the real work, facing what you already know but don't want to know. Jung said the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But you already are who you truly are. You're just unconscious of it. You don't need to become anything. You need to recognize what you've always been. The seeking ends when you realize everything you've been looking for is what's doing the looking. Here's the final truth that makes this the last video. You are not who you think you are. You're the one who's aware of who you think you are. Jung discovered that behind all the projections, beneath all the patterns, beyond all the complexes, there's something that doesn't project. The self. Not the ego self you identify with, but the self that witnesses all identifications. This self doesn't have problems because it doesn't identify with problems. It doesn't have patterns because it's what observes patterns. It doesn't project because it's what recognizes projections. You've been identifying with your projections, thinking you are your personality, your problems, your patterns. But you're not. You're what's aware of all of that. It's like you've been watching a movie and thinking you're a character in it, but you're not in the movie. You're watching the movie. You're not your life. You're what's experiencing your life. Jung called this the self with a capital S. And he said individuation is the process of shifting identification from ego to self, from the character to the witness, from the projection to what's beyond projection. This isn't spiritual bypassing, it's psychological fact. Right now, you're aware of reading these words. You're aware of thoughts arising. You're aware of feelings moving through you. That awareness, that's closer to what you are than any content of awareness. But here's why this matters practically. When you recognize yourself as awareness rather than content, every problem shifts. You're not depressed. You're aware of depression moving through you. You're not anxious. You're aware of anxiety arising. You're not your trauma. You're aware of trauma patterns playing out. This isn't denial. It's a fundamental shift in identity. And from this shifted position, you have options you didn't have when you thought you were the problem. Jung discovered this during his Red Book period. He was flooded with intense visions and emotions. His ego was terrified it meant madness. But then he found the witness position, the part of him that could observe the chaos without being consumed by it. From that position, he could engage the visions without drowning in them. He could dialogue with the figures without becoming them. He could experience the process without losing himself in it. He found the self that remains stable while everything else changes. The awareness that stays clear while all content clouds. The witness that remains free while the ego struggles. And once you find this, once you recognize yourself as the witness rather than the witnessed, the entire game changes. You stop trying to fix your projections and start observing them. You stop fighting your patterns and start studying them. You stop being your problems and start being curious about them. So, how do you actually live this? How do you shift from projection to recognition? Jung's method was simple but radical. Treat everything as communication from your unconscious. When someone triggers you, ask, What part of me is this person showing me? When a pattern repeats, wonder, what is my unconscious trying to make conscious through this pattern? When a problem persists, investigate. What unconscious material is creating this? But, and this is crucial, don't do this from the ego position of trying to fix things. Do it from the self position of curious observation. You're not trying to stop projecting. That's impossible. You're trying to recognize projection as projection while it's happening. You're not trying to eliminate patterns. You're trying to see them clearly. Jung called this holding the tension of opposites. You simultaneously live your life and observe yourself living it. You're in the movie and watching the movie. You participate and witness. This takes practice. The ego wants to collapse into identification. I am this problem. Or it wants to escape into spiritual bypassing. I'm above all problems. But individuation happens in the tension between these positions. You learn to say, I'm experiencing depression rather than I'm depressed. Anxiety is moving through me rather than I'm anxious. A pattern is playing out rather than this always happens to me. Small linguistic shifts that represent massive psychological shifts. Here's Jung's ultimate message. The thing that, if you really get it, makes everything else unnecessary. Your entire life is your unconscious becoming conscious. Every person, every situation, every moment. It's all your psyche trying to know itself through projection and recognition. You're not here to win at life. You're here to wake up to life. You're not here to solve all problems. You're here to recognize problems as projections. You're not here to become someone better. You're here to realize who you've always been. This isn't a philosophy or belief system. It's what's actually happening, whether you see it or not. Your unconscious is constantly projecting. Life is constantly reflecting. The question is whether you're conscious of the process. If this landed, really landed, you don't need another video. You have the master key. Everything is projection. Life is your mirror. Consciousness dissolves all problems by revealing them as projections. Most people will watch this and immediately look for the next video, the next teaching, the next answer outside themselves. They'll keep seeking instead of seeing. They'll keep projecting instead of recognizing. But maybe you're done with that. Maybe you're ready to stop looking for answers and start recognizing that you are the answer, playing hide and seek with yourself through projection. If you want to explore this deeper, subscribe. But know this, everything you need is already within you, projected as your life, waiting for you to recognize it as yourself. Jung's entire psychology leads to one recognition. It's all you. It's always been you. And the moment you really see this, the seeking ends and the finding begins. This might be the last video you need, not because it contains all answers, but because it reveals where all answers come from. They come from you. They always have.
Well, butter my butt and call me a biscuit. That was exactly right.
Wait, say it again, what you just said.
Butter my butt and call me a biscuit.
Well, I mean, that'll teach us not to watch politics and think there's somebody out there.
It's crazy. I love this. This is so good. Oh my
Well, there's
gosh.
so much. I have so many that I could send you. Like this, there's a couple different, again, they're AIs, but we're AI. I see
Well,
that now. There's nobody here but voices.
yeah.
So
And I mean, like he said it, you don't have to even watch another video. If you get
Yeah, you have
that,
to
I
go
mean,
inside. Yeah, go inside. Yeah,
that's
like
it.
if
I
I
mean,
say that
seriously.
he's like if I say somebody is so mean and violent, where am I ignoring the violence in me? You know,
Exactly.
we can't see the unconscious, but it keeps popping up because that's all we're living from. So, like, if somebody is like attacking me or whatever, well, that's me. So, but it's so clear now. The course I'm listening to the course today, and a lot they're saying the same thing about everybody's your mirror, but they go about it in not the most simplistic way. This is so simple, but it wouldn't have done anything for me until now. I don't know. Maybe it would have. Who knows?
Yeah, well, you would have heard it because you heard it in the course. I've heard it in the course. I hear it in the course all the time.
Right, but
Uh,
I don't pay attention
but
sometimes, and then
the
I'm like, "Well,
reality
it
of it,
says that," but, it's my dream. I always here's the thing, I think I would play it tonight if I what do you have planned for tonight? Oh, you have
um,
no, we have her come,
yeah, Sandy Levy's going to be
oh,
here.
I love when she comes in anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah,
But, the thing is, it's like you can and there's another one I played this morning where you're always with the right person. I mean, because you're not a person, it's your consciousness. So everything that you've done here is exactly what you're supposed to be doing, except not knowing that you are doing it all. And Dove says this all the time, but sometimes I'll go, "Oh, come on, Dove. Oh, really?" I think if he heard this, he would probably say, "Oh, yeah, I wrote that." He said,
but
okay. Robert said, I studied Jung before I found the course, but did not retain it. It was not my time. Exactly, Robert. Exactly. You know, I could read that too now. Brent Haskell, the script is written, and that is telling us always you don't wake up and have this knowing and own everything until the readiness is there. Until it's your time as spirit, because there's only one waking up. There's not separate anything. So I like the voice that they're using too.
oh yeah, yeah, they work on finding a
Also, if
voice
you
that's
want to,
going to be.
yeah. But tonight we have Sandy. But yeah, I thought last night was so good.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I just
yeah.
love him. I think Rupert, he never says he's a teacher. He says he's a friend. He never will call himself a teacher, because once you do that, your subconscious will take it like I know and they don't know. And
Yeah.
that's simply not true.
And a lot of people like Bill Free, he spent a lot of time with Rupert, and so did Malcolm Taylor, if you remember him. What a
Vaguely.
sweet man. Yeah, and he spent a lot, he went to see Rupert all the time. So he spent a lot of time with Rupert Spira, and you could tell, I mean, it's just, yeah. So it's interesting. So I want to look at this book of Ken's that we've been looking at, which is Healing the
Okay,
Unhealed Mind,
that'll work.
because
Is Marcy still here? Yeah,
I think
she's
so.
here.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, her's here. Okay, because this is interesting. I just opened it up and I started looking at where we were reading. Let me go forward to. Okay, so
Oh, this is the same thing, really.
yeah, so I'm just going back a little bit because we read this last. Yeah, this chapter is called "Projection Makes Perception."
Yeah. It's so funny. I can't even I personally struggled with this. And that's another thing. I was listening to Joe Vitale this morning, and he was saying that, the guy that, I don't know the guy's name, but, the Asian man
Hugh
that
Lin.
actually, yeah, Hewlin, he's saying basically, now I lost the thought, whatever. If you lose a thought, I want to tell you something. You're supposed to, because sometimes spirit goes right in front. That's what it said in one of the teachings. But what Joe Vitale says basically is that you're responsible even for the president. Because if you take that responsibility and say, yes, I put him out there, what is he teaching me to learn? And not take it like, oh, the story, like everybody's going to lose everything and what are we going to become and blah, blah, blah. And none of that really means anything. It's
Yeah,
just
no.
what?
It just means that you or I believe in a world where we're out of control and nothing is going to help us. And
Right.
what we were just hearing and what Ken is going to be saying and what the course says to us and all the everything, the teachings that we've been listening to are saying is you are projecting what you want to see here. Last night in my other group, we were talking about uh, how we see each other. Same thing as we were talking about listening to Rupert, how we see each other. Do we see behaviors and thoughts and condemn that and think that that's the person? Or do we separate behaviors and thoughts from the person and just see the person as they are? And as Rupert said, you can say, I like tea, but I don't like coffee, but they're both basically water. So you can have it, you can have likes and dislikes, but it's the reality of it is the same thing. So the world that I'm seeing, I recognize, um, I see through the eyes of a mother, and you see through the eyes of a mother. A lot of us, that is how we experience life,
Yeah.
is as a mother. The people that I make, you, Robert, Marcy, everyone listening out here, the people that I project into my world are my children. And I feel like I'm responsible for their thoughts and behaviors,
Yeah.
just like I think I'm responsible for my children's thoughts and behaviors.
Right.
And
Hmm.
I have not given them, my children, all of my children, the freedom to be what they are without uh, my opinion, my condemnation, my fear thoughts.
Mm.
These are the reason, I don't care what you do as long as you don't make me scared. Do something that scares me.
Oh,
And then if I get scared, then you broke things, you did bad things. So the fear is the thing that is actually driving my my discussion or thoughts about your thoughts and behaviors. I'm afraid of your thoughts. I'm afraid of your behaviors.
I
I'm
think we're
afraid of
afraid
my
of our
own
own
mind.
because your children are your thoughts. And so maybe the way I see the consciousness, and I'm just figuring this out loud, but our consciousness always is in the past. So when we're with our children, whatever went wrong, as maybe what our mothers did or fathers did, we don't want to repeat.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean? Yeah,
That's
because we
right.
want to be better. And it's always like, it is us, and it's just so amazing. And I will listen to this a lot because you know how forgetfulness comes in. When somebody like for instance, any teacher that we listen to is us. That is the I am bringing Rupert to us.
Yep.
Sandy tonight, that is us. There's nobody, Lynn doing the computer, that's us. It is not a separate anything. Everything is one.
Yep.
So every voice that we hear, oh, I can't believe he said that. That's, or whatever. When the course says, would you accuse your brother? It's really saying it literally. Would you accuse them? Because it's you that you're looking at.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
takes a while. It takes a while.
Well, because I'm giving so much meaning to it, because I'm giving all the lesson one and lesson two. I'm giving so much me. I think, oh, this means that, lots of children are going to starve to death, and this means that
Right.
we're going to have a war, and this means because of
Yeah.
these fearful thoughts. So,
Yeah.
so it's
Mhm.
this belief that I can be attacked
That's it.
that
Yeah.
makes me think that you can attack me. Something
That's right.
outside of me is going to come and hurt me. So let's read this book and see. I just want to go back because we already read this part last week, but
Well, we
since we
could read it
just,
again because a
yeah,
refresher is good. What I see happen, at least in my mind, is the ego goes right in the forefront, and I get lost. I'm like back in the the darkness. So I'll start, then I'll hand it over to you, and then anybody else, Marcy, Robert, anyone that wants to share. I know Robert, you have a hard time speaking, but boy, can you write? Phew.
yeah.
What comes out
And,
of you is all presence. It's all I am.
and
Any.
Sharon, what I was going to say, it's like this is not something that only has to do with the course. How many times have I gone and opened the refrigerator door and looked in there and thought, what am I looking for? or walked into a room and thought, why did I come in here? Completely forgetting where my intention. So it is not just the course that we're doing. We do it in everything. We do things we don't even remember we did or think
Oh my
somebody else
God.
did.
Yeah, we're all like unconscious here. Robert writes, guilt, which is ego, would love to make me believe the dollar I don't give will kill someone in Africa. Of course. I was giving money to Africa and I called Dove one day and he said, that's guilt. He said, and people pleasing. So I let it go because we have so much, we have so much guilt. Anyway, let me go. Okay. One of the key dynamics to understand in this course is projection. This is our gift. Many of you may have heard me say that when Helen was taking the course down from Jesus, he said to her and Bill that the only value in their being psychologists for the purpose of learning A Course in Miracles was that they understood projection. Look, projection is the psychological term for the dynamic of taking something we find unacceptable in our mind and getting rid of it by projecting it out, magically believing that now it is no longer in us, but in someone or something else. For instance, if I feel guilty about something, and guilt always ends up being unconscious because we repress it, I seek to get rid of it by seeing the trait I find unacceptable in another. I then attack and judge that person. I wake up every morning lusting after a sinner so I can make a judgment. I can justify it. All that I'm doing is saying the sin is out there and not in me. You know, I'm reading Ken's book, A Symphony of Love, and it's very wordy because that's all of Ken's stuff. But when you experience this book, which I was going to ask you if you wanted to read that sometime soon, because I know you're doing it on Saturdays, but what I found in Ken Wapnick is he loved God. He lived a life as a monk before he even opened he was already becoming that. He knew that God was here. He knew that God was in the room. Like he already had a knowing. So you see how he's being lived by the one too. Like, of course we all are, but he was the teacher for the course. I mean, if anybody says he wasn't, I would just ignore it because nobody understood it like him. Because it's a hard text. So I don't know. This is the meaning of the workbook line. When you feel that you are tempted to accuse someone of sin in any form, do not allow your mind to dwell on what you think he did, for that is self-deception. Ask instead, would I accuse myself of doing this? I just said that before. Yeah. Now, Morse, what did you write here? Every pres is my projection. I don't know what pres means. Is that president?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
I can't remember who made a comment about the president, and then sorry, Robert,
that's okay.
sorry.
No,
I posted it in Robert's thing, but yeah, Pres is president.
well, like he's doing his job here. I mean, his job that we voted for as one was to show us all our hatred. In
Right.
2016, Deepak Chopra said, humanity can now see their hatred. And nobody really got it. I heard it. I still didn't get it all. And
Yeah.
but it has to be the right time. And there's no time, but it has to be the readiness in the spirit. That spirit likes being the person, I guess, for a while. Anyway, this is not always true on the level of form, but it is always true on the level of content. If you have chosen Jesus as your teacher and feel ongoing presence of his love, you can never have a judgmental thought about anyone. Impossible. Why? The answer lies in another principle based on projection, that it is so important. It is said twice in the text, projection makes perception. I first look within my mind, choose the teacher whose thought system I expose and identify with, and then project or extend the guilt on love I have chosen, perceiving it in the world. If it is from the right mind, I will extend. But since the dynamic is the same, we will sometimes stay with the word projection for convenience. Yeah, I mean, I guess can you tell me what he said just here? Perceiving it is from the right mind, it will extend, right? But since the dynamic is the same, we will sometimes stay with the word project. Oh, right, because it's simpler.
Right.
Thus, if I have chosen Jesus as my teacher and experience his love and peace, I will project that out. Seeing love and peace all around me. If people are not living in peaceful, loving way, I will understand that they are really afraid of the love that is in them. How about that? And I will hear the fear, not the attack. Jesus tells us early in the text that frightened people can be vicious. And so through Christ's vision, I understood that people's viciousness is coming from their fear. Since I'm in this holy instant of sanity, filled with the reflection of the love of God, I will embrace people with that love, which I cannot do if I see them as attacking, being vicious or unkind. I can embrace them in my mind only if I realize that their attack is coming from their fear. And that's where the saying is love or call for love. That's all we need. It's so simple. Love or call for love. Like, oh, he needs love. That's why he's acting like this. You know, um, I was
Well,
listening.
actually, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. No, I don't mind. Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to pop in there. I need love. If my projection is
Yeah,
making brother appear to be not loving, it's not my brother
right.
that
It's never
needs love.
that.
It's me. I need
Yeah,
love. And that I just hit me when you said that. I'm like, oh my gosh, no, it's actually me. I'm the one who's projecting this story. So
right.
it's my not knowing and feeling the love of God within me now. Lesson 189. That's why. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry I
Yeah,
interrupted.
that's fine. I mean, it's like the projection part we can't hear completely until the readiness is completely here. Because I knew this and I didn't, and I forgot. And then I knew this and then I forgot. But this I won't forget because I'm in a place now where I have to be done with this ridiculous story in mind because it's ridiculous. I mean, we're all doing this together. Like, what's there to be upset about? I saw something that Cynthia Porter had posted yesterday on Facebook, and I just love her, but it's always like something about what the new president might do, and I had a reaction to it. And then I realized, wait a minute, I didn't know this yet. I mean, I did know that we were projecting it, but I didn't own it completely. But now I see the only thing we can do, the most beautiful thing we can do, is own that. Where have we been violent? Where or why are we hiding our violence, our craziness, our insanity? Well, of course, we want to be nice people. We learn that as children. When you're nice, people are nicer. So that's like just the way it works. But anyway, what is a loving brother to do but embrace them in that love, which is automatic once I choose the teacher of love? There is that wonderful lesson that says, I feel the love within me now. When I feel that love, I cannot attack, which means that when I find myself attacking, judging, criticizing, or finding fault, it must be because I'm no longer choosing the teacher of love, but the teacher of guilt instead. It has to be that. And this mistaken decision is my problem, not anything external, regardless of its form. So it's always inside. That's why seemingly you just stop when you see a brother because you just want to make sure you're in that right mind. Because you're in the wrong mind, you're in hell. And your communication is in hell. I just finished an essay, Cause and Effect, oh, okay. Oh, I'll look forward to that. Yeah, your writing is beyond good. It's so great. It just is, Anyway, All right, did I read that? One of these is the project. Okay, why is the word world not there? This is where a principle parallel to projection makes perception comes in. Ideas leave not their source. And some people say, well, they don't know what that means. Well, the thing is, it's a concept and it's in our mind. So we want to clear it, clean it, clear it, whichever you do. But we don't want, I'm like thinking like all the stories the ego's telling me about everybody else is about everybody else. It's never been about anybody but me. So anyway, let's go to the next one. Who wants to read now? Don't all scream at once.
I can read until my phone rings.
Okay.
What am I reading? Healing the Unhealed
I
Mind?
think Lynn has to change it, or maybe I'm wrong. Wait. Oh, you know what it does? Yeah, this is it. Principle says that the idea of separation. Yeah, that's it, Mars. Go ahead.
Okay. This principle says that the idea of separation or the idea of guilt can never leave its source in the mind and projected out to make a world. This is why the Course says there is no world. It means it literally. There are many passages in this Course that are not meant to be taken literally, such as God weeps or God is incomplete without us. These are meant metaphorically. We are even told in the workbook to ask God and he will tell us what to do when clearly he does not even know about us. This too then is meant metaphorically. But again, the statement that there is no world is meant literally because ideas leave not their source. So if nothing is out there, what are we responding to? It must be a projection of our minds. First on the collective level, the world that we all made up together, and then on a personal level, whatever we feel gets us upset, makes us angry, depressed, fearful, sick, happy, joyful, or ecstatic. Anything that we believe affects us, the mind, from the world is untrue. That is why the world is not to be taken seriously. This is not to say that terrible things do not happen here, because they clearly do, or that we should not do things in this world. Jesus never tells us we should be passive. He simply says we should be passive to the ego and not do things on our own. In fact, many, many times, Jesus told Helen not to do anything without asking him first. And some of these statements were kept in the text. What this means is that we should not do anything in this world if we are coming from guilt. If we are not asking Jesus for help or not asking the Holy Spirit to be our teacher, we must be coming from guilt, for we are reenacting the original moment when we told God to get lost, saying, "Your love is not enough for me." The self you created, well, where are we? I've lost my sentence now.
I do that all the time.
The
Wait.
self you created.
Yeah,
So,
the self you created. Is that under, where is that?
okay, let me go back. So,
I just need a
your
little,
love is not enough for me.
the
The
self.
self you created is one with you is not enough.
Oh, the self it was confused because the a Y is capitalized.
I
The
know it's
created
confusing.
with you is not enough. The world of heaven, the world of perfect oneness is not what I meant to be my home, is what I want to be my home. There's a Freudian slip. I will therefore leave you and make my own self, my own love, my own world. We did this first as a thought, and then after the great projection, we did so as a physical experience. It is in this madness that we reenact each and every time we choose the teacher of guilt instead of the teacher of forgiveness, which I did last night when my husband called his dog, "Wally, let's go to bed." And they went upstairs and went to sleep. And I was doing my abandonment routine in my head, which was pretty crazy because
Oh, that's
he's
funny.
not abandoning me.
That is funny, but that's a
He
good
seems
thing.
to have chosen Wally as his new partner in crime.
Well,
Oh my God. The principle,
but you know what, Marcy,
yeah.
that's the kind of thing that obviously you looked at that and you're laughing about it because you see how ridiculous it is. that, I mean, wait till he asks Wally to make him a sandwich. Then you'll have a problem. But right now,
Don't cook that much here, and I don't make too many meals, so he might ask Wally before he asks me.
oh, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
But I just want, because this is really tricky, this stuff that Ken is talking about right now,
yeah,
is, the guilt um that we experience, not because we're doing anything wrong, but we have this feeling where like we're sneaking around behind God's back to do things. And that's one part of it. Another part of it is that if I do, and we all do understand or know our responsibility for the world we see.
yeah,
And I know that that's true because, I look at you, what do you do? You like to go and fix up community gardens and fix up the schoolyards for kids so that they have beautiful plants. And, you're constantly doing something to make the world a better place. And that's because you feel like you have a responsibility there. I mean, there are not many people who do that, Marcy. I don't know if you recognize that, but that's something that is really rare. Um,
yeah,
but uh, but that's because you experience a sense of responsibility for the world you see. There are other people who go out on ships to take food to children in Gaza. There are other people who go out on ships to stop people from killing whales because they feel a responsibility to the world that they see and the guilt that is, and just don't start thinking, oh man, she's saying I'm guilty, think I'm guilty. The guilt that really is the motivation for all of it, because I feel like I have to do something to make it better. I can't just let the schoolyard just be a muck like that and children not to have the beauty of flowers with them. I think this is an important thing, and I want to go out and do something about it. Or I want to send money to hungry children in Africa, or I want to adopt a pet, or whatever it is, or adopt a child, whatever it is, do we do these things out of just the sheer love of my heart that I just want to give everyone everything? Or do we do these things because we have a sense of responsibility for the world that we can't possibly uh, do anything about, except in little small pieces and little small parts? And so you look at everybody who's being active politically, whether you agree with them or not. Everybody who's being active in the community, whether you agree with them or not. Going to colleges and debating college kids, whether you agree with them or not, doesn't matter. Everybody's doing it out of a sense of responsibility that they have for the world that they see, and a sense of guilt that it can't be a perfect world, that they can't make a perfect world, can't make heaven. And we already shut the door on heaven. So now, without my entry back, uh, and since everyone's here with me in this hell, we got to stick together. We got to make it work. And the real answer is to recognize I'm not responsible for anything in the world of the physical realm, because it is not a reality. It's a projection of the guilty thoughts in my mind. And if I just deal with that. And I think it's real important that he mentioned, as I mentioned before, also that lesson. And it was 209 he mentioned. It's actually lesson 189. I feel the love of God within me now. And then the review lesson for that, which Karen and Dove are going to be talking about during their 20 weeks, that is saying, the review lesson 209 is the one, I feel the love of God within me now. And so, looking at that lesson, and what is it, that lesson 189? Let me just go pull that up real quick, because this is the famous lesson. And, anybody tell me before I open it up, what is the famous thing about lesson 189 that we always quote over and over and over again? Hello, hello.
Give us one word. Give us a clue.
Okay, first word, simply.
Simply do this.
Simply do this. This is the lesson 189, which is all first off, it's called I feel the love of God within me now. And then he
I
goes
think you
through the
just
entire
passed it. I
lesson.
saw it and you passed it.
Yeah,
I
and I'm
think.
gonna just go back. He
Oh,
spends
okay.
the whole lesson talking about you can't even see what you are. There's a light in you the world can't see. You can't see the light. You're blinded by the world. Um, and this is why you're feeling this brokenness. To feel the love of God within you is to see the world anew, shining in innocence, alive with hope, and blessed with perfect charity and love. So if we could see the world as innocent, anew, innocent, alive with hope, and blessed with perfect charity and love, then we would feel the love of God. And then he goes on and talks about how come we're not. All the things that we're doing to prevent ourselves from feeling the love of God. And then he says, as he does so often in these lessons, today we're going to do it. Today, we're going to pass those illusions. We're going to look for what's true in us. We're going to feel it's all embracing tenderness. It's love. We're going to feel the love of God. Today, we will do that. Sure enough, it's going to happen. How do I do it? Simply do this. You want to read that, Marcy?
Sure. Simply do this and lay aside all thoughts of what you are and what God is, all concepts you have learned about the world, all images you hold about yourself. Empty your mind of everything it thinks is true, either true or false, good or bad, of every thought it judges worthy, and all the ideas of which it is ashamed. Hold on to nothing. Do not bring with you one thought the past has taught, nor one belief you ever learned before from anything. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with holy, empty hands unto your God. I shall have to remember to do that when I go out in the garden because I'm struggling over my own garden on top of everything else. Is I put in these. There's a bush called what is it? A boomerang. Did you ever hear of a boomerang?
No.
It's a boomerang bush, and it's got some other name that goes along with it, but I can't remember it. But the funny thing is, I bought two of them, and they're next to each other, but one got more sun apparently than another. And one is humongous and is taking up much more space than it was technically designated and by me and by whatever the tag said. It never said it would get that big. And then I also bought a little tree, and I'm not supposed to put trees in, according to my husband. And I have no idea how big that tree is going to get. So I'm sort of when I'm not in the love, I sometimes and I'm in the garden. How could you not be in the love in the garden? But I sometimes slip into that control issue of what have I done? Everything's too big, and you can cut it, but it changes how it grows and da da da. It's just kind of goofy.
That is funny. But so yeah, that's it, you remind my daughter has some cats and they were born, they were born from the same mom, same day.
Hmm.
Black and white tuxedo cats. One is big and fat and the other one is long and skinny. And it's like, oh my gosh, how do these two cats who look exactly alike, if you didn't know,
Yeah,
but one is like huge and the other one is skinny, because maybe that one got more sun. But thank you for reading that, Marcy.
uh-huh.
This is, I mean, he says simply do this.
Yeah,
And simple is, I mean, yes, it is simple. Just stop thinking that anything has any meaning.
yeah,
Just empty everything of the meaning you think it has. good, bad, true, false, everything you think is good, all the things you're ashamed of. Stop thinking of their thoughts. They don't belong to you. They belong to the ego. They're not even yours. So don't even think about those things. How did you get so fat? How did you get so skinny? What do I have to, dig you up and move you over to another part of the art? You don't have to worry about that. Forget this world, forget this bush, forget this tree. Come with holy hands unto your God. And this is so beautiful. But then the next thing he says here that is there and so helpful, because when you read that, you're going to go crazy. You're going to think, how I will never be able to do that. But then he says this beautiful thing here. Is it not he who knows the way to you? You need not know the way to him. Your part is simply to allow all obstacles that you have interposed between the Son and God the Father to be quietly removed forever. So he's not even saying you have to remove the obstacles. He says, let them be removed. Just let them be removed. God will do his part in joyful and immediate response. Ask and receive. But do not make demands nor point the road to God by which he should appear to you. The way to reach him is merely to let him be, for in that way is your reality proclaimed as well. So today we don't choose the way to go to God. We don't choose any part of it. And we just let it be the way that it is. Lesson 268, let all things be exactly as they are. And just let God be. Let God be and let God show you the way. But I think this is really important. Sentence 6, do not make demands nor point the road to God by which he should appear to you. A lot of people forget that and they think, oh, well, God, if you really, if you want to help me, help me pay my rent or, get me out of this problem or, take away my sickness or, if you really love me, don't tell God what to do. Don't tell God, don't demand anything. Just let it be. And so by doing that, being still and letting God just be, letting God run the world. And so today we do not choose the way in which we go to him, but we do choose to let him come. And with this choice we rest. And in our quiet hearts and open minds, his love will blaze its pathway of itself. What has not been denied is surely there. If it be true and can be really truly reached, God knows his Son. God knows me and loves me. He knows the way to me. He doesn't need me to show him. He doesn't need me to send out an SOS or, pile rocks on the shore with the SOS so he can find me. He knows where I am. And through every open door, his love shines outward from its home within and lightens up the world in innocence. And so this little prayer, I know I'm going on with this, but hope y'all don't mind. And I know it's past our time and I don't care because we're just going to go talk some more anyways. So Father, we do not know the way to you, but we have called and you have answered us. Do you realize that? Do you recognize that? You've already called. God, help me. And now we just wait. Now we wait. We will not interfere. I need do nothing except not to interfere. There it is again, that word. We will not enter fear. No fear for me. I'm not going to go there. Salvation's ways are not our own, for they belong to you, and it is unto us we look for them. Unto you we look for them. Our hands are open to receive your gifts. We have no thoughts we think apart from you, and cherish no beliefs of what we are or who created us. Yours is the way that we would find and follow, and we ask, but that your will, which is our own as well, be done in us and in the world, that it become a part of heaven now. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. Hey, Sharon, please go ahead.
Well, I just also want to just say what Bob wrote here. We speak much of seeing the face of Christ. And then he writes, for years I thought that meant seeing Jesus. Not so. Every person, every face is the face of Christ if I'm willing to see it. And what I want to say is if you see a dog, that's the face of Christ. If you see a blade of grass, that's the face of Christ. Christ is making it, it's the only connection we have to the infinite. And Christ is pretty much in everything we see. So it's kind of like, what's the problem then? We can all just say we're done. But no, we can't because I'll still. Here's the thing I know now the best thing I can do is go inward. Just continue to say, if I don't like something, like, okay, I had a judgment on people that were Republicans. It was just one of the ego's made up ideas. And, it still tries to talk now, the ego. But I just say ideas don't leave their source and it stops. Because the thing is, in some ways, we are teaching the ego because the ego is the one that actually goes on this path. Spirit was dormant, but I don't know. I just feel like, oh, Mickey's here. Oh, okay. Yeah, Mickey, go ahead, honey.
Hi, honey.
Hi. I'm so glad you're
I
here.
just, what's that?
I said, I'm so glad you're here. We were playing something earlier that tells you point blank, it's very clear. And maybe Lynn will play it on one of our groups, but there's nothing out there but you. That's all that's there. If you, and we've heard this over, but this was a little bit clearer, I guess. Republican thoughts are scary, Lynn says. Anyway,
There's,
go ahead, Nikki. I'm sorry.
there's nothing out there but you, and the you who is the you is not the you who think you are.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, that's
Yeah.
what we have to keep remembering. When we hear things like, there's nothing outside yourself, there's nothing out there but you, we keep thinking the you, and Keith has a great word for it, solipsism, which means
Yeah,
we think it's all about us. And it's not. It's just, I'm not the me I think I am.
right. It's just about the oneness. It's just,
Yeah. Anyway, I wanted to point out as Lynn was reading in 189 in that prayer, but we have called. And one thing that I wanted to go back over, it says in that second sentence, and you have answered us. We just glided right past that,
let's see where it's
thinking that
important.
in the second sentence,
Oh.
we keep thinking we're waiting for this answer. We keep thinking God hasn't already done everything. We keep thinking there's something has to happen. Nothing needs to happen. I'm finally starting to kind of understand this.
Oh, I so get you.
You
I
know?
so get you. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't even take complete responsibility until recently. I was still talking about what people did, and
Mhm.
nobody's done anything. It's been all me.
The absurdity of it. Now the phrase "you gotta laugh" has taken on new meaning
Yeah, it really
because
is. You're right.
it's it's really oh Lynn put, yeah, solipsism is the philosophical idea that only one's mind is sure to exist as an epistemological, say that 5 times fast, as an epistemological position. Solipsism holds that knowledge of anything outside one's own mind is unsure. The external world and other minds cannot be known and might not exist outside the mind, but that includes ours. We think nothing exists outside us, me, this personality, this identity. Bullcrap. None of this exists. only the mind that's looking at it exists. And it's all the same mind. It's finally, sinking in a little bit. Do I think I'm looking at a car going by out on the street? Yeah, and I think I, Mickey Me, is the one looking at the car. But no, none of it. We have called and you have answered us.
Right.
And if we just don't interfere, and that's what thinking we are this identity is doing, it's interfering. Okay, I'm on a soapbox today. Sorry.
No, I love that. No, I think you were very. Here's the thing, it does seem like in our group that everybody seems to be in the same place. Have you noticed that? Like it
Mm-hmm.
just seems that way. I've struggled with this whole thing but I was still like listening to the ego. You can't even listen to it. It's ridiculous. It's just your thoughts talking to your
It's
thoughts.
laughable.
Yeah, it's
You
actually
know,
laughable. Yeah, because I scared myself yesterday. A friend of mine on Facebook put something about what's going to happen to us next, in terms of,
yeah,
whatever. And
the nonsense.
right. And then I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And
Uh,
I'm sitting there with my own thoughts. That's why Dove always says it's mental masturbation. You're just doing it all day long.
yep.
Yes. And these talking and listening to these thoughts as we've been hearing, and of course, Rafi would, if he was here, he'd be saying, they're only thoughts and you can let them go. Can you let that thought go? And of course, if I don't believe it, I can certainly let it go. But if I do believe it, I'm going to try to hang on to it. And so I think that right there is the problem with, a lot of times. Yeah, you'll say, yes, I can let it go. But really, you're still looking for evidence that you were right in the first place.
Well, your ego's looking for evidence.
Exactly,
Your ego
exactly.
has said, okay, this spirit that you think you are, it's nothing. Listen to me. I know. And that's the whole point of A Course in Miracles. We know nothing. We
Yeah,
thought we were people.
yeah. And so that whole thing of solipsism, I've gotten to that. I've been to that many times, meditating, basically to the point that I recognize that the only thing I really know for sure is that I'm here. And I don't even know for sure that, I mean, everything else is, I mean, I could be a mind in a box and a table in the
Yeah.
middle of nothing and living, experiencing this world because the whole world is imaginary. And I've seen myself in that as a mind in a box. But then, of course, where did the mind in the box come from? It was like, it's untenable. You can't keep up that thinking without losing your mind or, whatever. Nobody can actually ever really believe that. But it's something you can think about for sure. So, yeah. Uh, and Bob says, yes, when I really realize I'm listening to my ego, my only response is to laugh, and I'm laughing a lot. Yes. And I see that in this group. Everybody's laughing a lot. Do you guys find yourself laughing more often at how silly your thoughts are? And even the things that bring about some, real fear, upset, just it just seems silly. It just seems silly, and just recognize it. And even Jesus says it's a joke. It's a joke to think that time could come to circumvent eternity. It's a joke. Are you kidding me? How?
Yeah. Yeah. Mickey's
Mickey,
hands.
Mickey, go
The
ahead.
bottom line is that whatever happens out there in the outer picture, we can take responsibility for it because that's the whole spiritual process. We did it.
Yeah.
Not acts. I didn't do it. Yeah, you did, because because all of our illusions are coming from the oneness. So
Yeah. And I'm projecting what I want to see. That's the thing where the responsibility
yes,
comes up. I want to see,
yeah, I
I
want to
want
see
you to
this. I want to
hang.
show you how bad people are.
I want these bad people to be
Mhm.
punished. I want to see, if I want to see that, guess what? I'm going to punish myself because I'm the one who's making those people bad by my disapproval of my perception of what they're
Yes.
thinking. It's not even really what they're thinking. It's my perception about what they're thinking. I think they're thinking that. I don't even really know what anybody's thinking. Do you know what anybody's thinking? No. That's why solipsism comes in. Anyway, go ahead,
What
Mickey.
does Solipsism say? Is it just saying that we just think that everybody's doing something to us? Because I still couldn't
No,
comprehend.
no, solipsism says that the only thing I can be sure of is that I am this mind. And I don't know anything about anything else. And therefore it may be that I'm the only thing that actually exists, and
Right.
that everything here is a projection of my thinking, which is actually true, but um it's it just puts you in a different kind of space where then you don't have the uh I guess the caring of your brother. The experience of your brother goes away when you think you're the whole of it.
Mm.
You don't see your brother as being even a real person. And there's a lot of people that don't see others as real people. A lot of people don't see others as real people.
Like, what do you mean? Like, what does that? Can you clarify that?
Yeah, say for instance, and I'm not saying all of them are like this, but say for instance, you are working for ICE, immigration and whatever it is ICE stands for, and you're going and ripping children off from their parents and taking men off the street, taking people out of their jobs and throwing them into some prison. Could you do that if you thought that that was a human being like yourself?
Oh
You can
God.
only do that if you think that they're something that you're not. Because if it was your brother, if it was your mother, but even in Germany during the time when the Nazis and a lot of people are doing, they turned in their own mother, they turned in their own families because they don't see them as the same thing that they are.
Right.
So, and I'm not saying solipsism takes you to that point, but that's the point that solipsism actually uh it's like you're not connected. You're everything you see is a projection of your own mind. And so, I just see you're a Jew. You have to die. All the Jews
Right.
have to die.
I mean, can I tell you what this mind fears is they're going to do this to the immigrants. They already are,
Oh
but
yeah.
they're not putting them in gas chambers, But I was so worried that because I thought, my God, these people that are wearing masks, it's scary, blah, blah, blah. But it's really just Halloween every moment of our lives.
Yes, yes. And we
I
can
mean, it's like I do get charged a little with this ice thing, and I realize that I'm not looking inward because if I look inward, there's nobody with a mask on.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Mickey's what's had their hand up.
Yeah, go ahead, Mickey.
Okay, I think we've gone a little far afield here with solipsism. What we're talking about is dehumanization.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the
And
other side of it. Yeah.
solipsism is a little more esoteric and philosophical than that. And it has a lot to do with Eastern religions and pure non-duality. Um, and it's a mistake that can be made in pure non-duality in thinking I am the only thing that exists. Nothing outside of me is real, but that I exist, as opposed to all of this is a dream and nothing is real, including me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And, all that other stuff, still very valid, but not solipsism.
Well, but
That's
it's
just
the same point of
straight
view. It's
dehumanization.
the same point of view. It's the same point of view. It's just the opposite end of it. I mean, it's the same point of view that I'm the only thing that is real, and
Mhm.
nothing else is. That's how people can treat each other that way because
Well,
they think that.
but when you're talking about a group of people,
No,
and
I'm
that,
talking about individuals.
yeah,
It's an individual. These are people that are human beings that are going out and doing these things.
yes,
And
they're human beings that think they are part of a club. They think they're part of an organization that has the right to do that. They still think of themselves as being part of, say, clan mentality.
yeah, and but they also don't think that anybody else in that organization is worthy also either. They don't see the worth in to be able to have that kind of thinking, you can't see the worth of anything or anybody other
Mhm.
than your own mind.
Well, certainly not spiritual worth.
Yeah. Yeah, which is, I mean, that's people don't recognize how they are being, how they're moving without thinking. So
Mhm.
anyway, so let's go on with our reading, and we could have this discussion all day. And believe me, it's something
Yeah,
I've thought
because
about.
this reading goes hand in hand with no one's out there and nothing happened.
Right.
So I would love to see what this goes into.
Okay, so do you want to read
Oh,
the
sure.
principle if nothing happened?
Yes, I
I
would
would
love
love
to
to say it.
read.
Well, good enough. That's a volunteer to me.
Okay. The principle of nothing happened. We do not have to, oh, let me put my glasses on. That would probably help. We do not have to ask help of Jesus or the Holy Spirit specifically. They are only symbols, and I love this. They are only symbols of a right minded, non judgmental, non ego thought system or presence in our mind. And I would love to have more of that presence in my mind. Although A Course in Miracles uses only those two symbols, any other would work as well, since what matters is the source behind the symbol. What is important, however,
Sorry.
what is important, however,
However,
is that Sharon, let me finish out this paragraph, is that we go to that symbol whenever tempted by our specialness to be angry, guilty, depressed, anxious, sick, despairing, resentful, and so on. This is where this course becomes practical. And Sharon's got her hand up.
All right, yeah, I don't have it for long. I just wanted to, if somebody maybe could help me with this. I have Ken's book, right? A Symphony of Love. And he's talking to God. Like in the beginning of the book, it's all about God and him. And now he says, then God doesn't even know we're here. So that, I guess that's God, the real God, not God consciousness, right? Even though that is real, it's not where our final destination. Is that what he's saying? Because I sometimes get confused when he says, you don't ask, like, Holy Spirit, you ask right mind or wrong mind. He's very clear that guidance can mess you up, is what he basically says a lot. And so does Keith. Like, you don't need that guidance. But Mickey or Lynn or Robert, whoever can answer, why is he saying basically in his book how much he's with God when God isn't even here? But he's talking about consciousness. He's talking about pure consciousness, right? He's not talking about the highest form of you know of reason.
I think I think he's talking about his experience with God, which, I mean, we've all had experience with God our whole lives. We
Right,
all
I know
have
that,
experience
but
with
God
God,
is, yeah, but this space is God, but it's not, it's God consciousness.
but you have
It's
a feeling about God, right?
right,
You've
yeah,
talked to God,
yeah,
you have a
usually I used
relationship
to,
with God.
right.
So that's really what he's talking. I mean, of course, he's always had a relationship with God. It may not have been a relationship that even he understood what God was thinking. God, God's relationship has always been love, 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 love. That's God's relationship with everything. Our relationship with God is a give and take kind of thing. But, even, as a child, I knew, God was my buddy. God was my friend. God was who I asked about everything, talked to about everything, went to whenever there was a problem. I spent, my whole life attempting to connect with God. And, never until I found A Course in Miracles did it occur to me that what I was really connecting with was something inside of myself that was whole and true and connected to God. But I was still experiencing myself as being disconnected from God because I was in a body in a world. And so that's the thing. It is a kind of conundrum because you're going through this deep desire to have this connection that you can literally feel and know, but it is not a whole connection because of all the thoughts that are filling up our mind. It's the thoughts that keep us disconnecting. Okay, see you,
Also,
Marty.
though,
Go ahead, Mickey. Yeah.
um, it's that that the thing that we feel, the that we have conversations with, is a representation of God. Because God doesn't know we're here. God doesn't know we're separate. God doesn't know we're a we. So we have a representation which we can call Holy Spirit or Jesus or right mindedness or all those other things that Ken listed. That God just is. God isn't. It, I can't explain what I'm thinking about, but it.
Now I know what you're saying, though. It's
And I
very helpful.
can't remember your
Yeah,
original
but I know
question
exactly
now.
what you mean. That's where, like, there was a time that I thought God was here, but this is right. It's a reflection of God. That's
Right.
all it is. It's just a reflection. Yeah. But I mean, if you want, the course works really well when we realize we're not this body, I think, because
Yeah.
the body's,
Well, and it speaks on so many different levels because
yeah,
it
it really
talks
does.
as if God was listening to us when we say that prayer. But, uh, yeah, I can't explain I can't put in words what's in
I
my
have the same issue.
mind.
Same. No, I can't put it in words. But the thing is, though, this is your way out of insanity. That's truly what it is. It's just your way out of insanity. And it can make you insane too, because you think you're failing, or at least I did. I thought, oh, I'm never going to get this. I'm never going to get this. And you get it when you
Yeah,
get it.
we've all thought that. I was talking with some friends the other day. I remember a couple of years ago when we used to say, I'm never going to get this, and now all of a sudden we're getting it. That's the beauty of it. Anyway, should I keep reading?
Yeah, I just wanted to say this, that you do feel the love of God. That's the thing. We do feel the love of God. It's what we are. It's our nature. And when we say God isn't here, that indicates that there is a here. There is a place where God could or not be. Um, but God is everywhere. So there is no place that God could be or not be. God is everywhere. Uh, in my thoughts, in my stories, in the things I think are real. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. The the problem is then thinking that there's a power, this to me anyway, that there's a power that can rearrange the illusion if I ask it to.
The
And
chairs on the Titanic, you mean?
yeah, the deck chairs on the Titanic, yes. Instead of putting them together and saying, can we make a raft out of these things? We're we're trying to figure out where to sit. But that's not going to happen because I put them there and that's what I wanted them to be. And what that recording that we listened to earlier, the Carl Jung one, oh my goodness, he really is pointing out to us that we are uh, projecting this everything that we're seeing here, and we can we don't have to. We have a choice whether we want to project it or not, but
Mhm.
we're projecting it based on our own thoughts. So, how long was that thing? Did you hear any of that, Mickey, the Carl
I
Jung?
did not. I was in lesson group.
Okay, because
I
this
would
thing
love
is
You
to
can
hear
play
short.
it
that.
for her, like, I
I
would
think
play
I
it.
might play it because it's 26 minutes long. That basically,
It blew
um,
me away, and I brought it in today, Mickey. It's very clear, very clear.
I'm going to replay it, and it is kind of
Everything you
longer. It's like 26 minutes long.
Cool.
Uh, but yeah, let's listen to it. And actually, what I'm going to do is because I already played it once, I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording or this YouTube because we don't need to play it twice on YouTube. It's already on YouTube. And by the way, that uh, this video came from into into INTUES on YouTube. And I thought I subscribed to that, but apparently I didn't yet. But anyway,
Can you put that link in the chat?
I will put the link in the chat. Yes, I
Excellent.
will.
Thank you.
Let's see. Did I or did I not? Here, let me do it from this page. All right. And I'm going to, oh, I can't do that over here. I guess I have to do it over here. Hang on. I don't know what I'm doing. It is not unusual.
You're still YouTubing.